My name is Jessica Reyes, and I'll be going over the events that led to World War II. This is my audience. I have my grandfather, Mr. Ike, my mom, Delsina, my sister, Courtney, my brother-in-law, Jordan, and my daughter, McKinley, who is 5. Today, we're going to go over the things, not the war itself, but what caused us to enter into the war in World War II back in 1941. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was signed. What the Treaty of Versailles was, is it was an end to World War I. The world was in severe turmoil at the time. World War I devastated us all. Not only was the U.S. affected, but many other countries in the world were affected. However, once the Treaty of Versailles was signed, other countries were still very upset because they did have issues that were still unresolved from the First War. In 1929, the Great Depression began. Now, we all know from school when we were younger, elementary and so on, we always learned about the Great Depression. It was a very hard time for not only the U.S., but other countries around the world. Money had decreased. People were no longer able to afford their homes. Everything was just done with, basically. People didn't have food, people didn't have water, nothing. Well, in 1935 until 1939, Franklin Delano Roosevelt adopted a neutral position in relation to foreign affairs. The world, like I said, was still in turmoil, and they were still bickering amongst each other. However, President Roosevelt knew that the U.S. could not afford to enter into World War II. We were still going through a lot of things on our own turf, and we couldn't get involved in those affairs. However, in 1939, Germany invaded Poland, causing Great Britain and France to declare war on Germany. However, at that time, Adolf Hitler had rose to power in Germany and other countries alike, When Germany invaded Poland and Great Britain decided, we're not going to take that and we're going to declare war on Germany, Hitler was very upset. He then in return invaded Denmark and Norway. Now, time went on and they began to fight. But on December 7th, 1941, Japan decided that the U.S. was now going to enter into World War II by bombing Pearl Harbor. That's this picture right here. When Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, Franklin Roosevelt knew then that we had no position to not join the war. Unfortunately, lives were lost, but on December 8th, 1941, the U.S. retaliated, and we declared war on Japan, causing us to then enter World War II, which was like our official date into the war. Now here I have some photos, of the times that were going on during World War II and leading up to it. This here is the Treaty of Peace. It's the Treaty of Versailles. That's what ended World War I. These are German soldiers entering into Denmark and Norway. These are photos of German soldiers, at war. Here's a continuation of that. This photo is really popularly searched, and it's because it's so devastating. This is when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor in Honolulu. And finally, although this did happen years later, this is the bombing of Hiroshima. Thank you guys so much. I hope you learned something today, and I hope that it sticks with you. I'm Jessica Reyes, and these are the events that led to World War II.
Thank you.
Turn it up,
I mean, you did it.